let's do real quick. I don't, there's really not much for the Hawks to talk about this offseason and free agency because I think expectations have been kind of set based on the few moves that have already happened for the Hawks. They've already made the signing with Donato, his 4x4. I think it's the first couple years he's got minimum trade coverage
10
protection.
10 team. Is it
the 2 years?
10 team no trade list, and then it's to 8 on 2 and 3. Puckpedia says that it's an 8-team no trade list in the 4th year, but I saw elsewhere that it was no protection.
There's no protection. That's what I heard too. So unless that was reported wrong, so they signed him. Glad to have him back. I think Hawk fans need to, and I know this is going to happen. Last season was an anomaly for him. Like I don't see him putting up the same amount of goals that he did last year. I think he's still going to be a very big part of the offense, but it's not going to be what it was last year. So expectations need to be tapered with him on that.
Yeah. I still think that he can produce, at least 20 given the circumstances that he's playing in. It's just, this is the first time since in his whole career too, that he was averaging over 15 minutes a game for like a full season. And I'm sure probably getting power play time, like he was given the opportunity. It was pretty crazy. Like he was shooting 17%. So that'll probably come down. And a lot of guys are usually shooting around 10%. But if he ends up taking more shots, he can still hit like 20, 25 goals.
And who knows who else comes into the team and if his role is going to diminish a little bit. But the other move we already talked about, Burakovsky. Traded from Seattle for Veleno. I don't hate the deal. I know people are kind of like, he's 30 years old. He's got $5.5 million for 2 more years. And it's like, well, the Hawks need to get to the cap floor. That's still a thing.
Yeah, the cap's going up so much. Like they're all right. So $5.5 million this year, and then next year, the Hawks have like $70+ million in cap space.
I think it's like 74 now after this trade.
Yeah. So, the contracts that are overinflated a little bit, like Foligno and Dickinson, are going to be off the books. So the fact that he's still getting 5.5 isn't really going to matter. And this, like I kind of said, like way earlier though, it's like this is the same thing that Dickinson's done over the last 2 years. Where 2 years ago you got Dickinson, he had brought him in on a very one-sided trade that benefited us very, very much, and he had a great season. And then last year, same thing. We got Mikheyev in a second fucking round pick for a 4th rounder, and Mikheyev had his best year since playing with Toronto. And I mean, it's his blueprint for like, okay, I'll take this one this year, and it's like, all right, well, I kind of am just really excited to know that Burakovsky is going to have a really good season with the Hawks. I thought he was a really exciting player back when he was in Washington. I was like, oh, he's not quite Alexander Semin like, but he's very similar. Just didn't put up that same kind of points because the teams that he was on was stacked. Those were stacked Washington teams. But he put up 61 points with Colorado when they won.
Yeah, he's a 2-time Cup champ, right? Like he was a part of that 2018 Washington team. So it's like you're bringing in experience, and it's like, yeah, it's not like, okay, the Hawks need this experience to like, we're competing for a cup, but it's like this guy's been around winning teams. He knows what it takes to take that team to the next level and what you need to do. So it's like you have Foligno here that is teaching them like, rechanging the definition of what it means to be a Blackhawk. And he's taking that leadership type of role for the team off ice. And then now you're bringing in Burakovsky, and he's kind of be that. I'm not saying he's going to be the same levels as Foligno, but it's like it's a guy who knows how to win on ice and what it takes to be a competitive team on ice. And he's going to be able to show that. And if he can stay healthy this year, I don't see any reason why he's not going to flirt with what he did in Colorado and Washington. But I mean, he could still be probably a 50-point guy if he's healthy.
Yes. So here's his last year in Colorado was 21-22. He had 61 points in 80 games, 22 goals, 39 assists. He was playing around 16 minutes a game. Then he got his new contract with Seattle. And then I think this is where his injury issues started to happen. But he still had 39 points in 49 games, playing a little over 16 minutes, like 16 and a half minutes of time on ice. That was his best like point per game. No, it wasn't. Sorry. It wasn't his best point per game season, but he was averaging like 0.8 points per game. And then I don't know if Seattle started to utilize him differently or if his injury was still nagging him, but the 2 years ago, he only had 49 games and 16 points. And then last year it was 37 points in 79 games, but his time on ice dropped by like 2 minutes per game.
You have to imagine too, he's going to be used probably top 6, maybe top 9.
I think in my mind, he's going to be on where Mikheyev was last year with Bedard. Because Mikheyev, I think, is going to be still put back on the third line because that's where he thrived. And then just like the penalty kill was insane. Mikheyev, Teravainen, and Nazar, just like any two of those three out there, I was like, oh, we might score here. Like, I can't wait for that again. But I think Burakovsky, if he gets the time on one of the top lines, like he can probably still put the puck on the back of the net, get some assists, put some points up, look good.
Yeah. So like we said, it's kind of set of the expectations for the summer. That's like no big game fishing. Like Marner out. I think Besser is probably off. Ehlers probably out.